When you're at Whole Foods without any money and you've eaten too much weed-infused honey, you're in the bubble. You're in the Boulder bubble. Tech companies don't know what they're doing. A mountain town with ideas brewing. You're in the bubble. You're in the Boulder bubble. It's a pretty little town with a lot of things to do and a lot of things to see. 25 miles surrounded by reality. You're in the bubble. You're in the Boulder bubble. You're in the bubble. You're in the Boulder bubble. Radio 1190's The Bubble, hosted by Ethan and Donato.
Welcome back to the Bubble Podcast, Episode 2. We have a great show for you today. First up, we are going to hear from Don Strasburg. He is head talent buyer at AEG Live and co-founder of Z2 Entertainment. He's in charge of essentially all major shows in the Boulder, Denver area. So we talked to him at his office, caught up with him for about half an hour. And then after Don Strasburg, we're going to be chatting with Michelle Zauner from Japanese Breakfast. That was right before her date at Larimer Lounge in Denver. And then to close out the show, we have Ashely Koett playing live in the studio. We'll be catching up with her a little bit. So keep it tuned to The Bubble. We have a great show for you.
Before we get into this interview with Don Strasburg, for those of you who don't know, I happen to be in a band named after Don Strasburg, which made this interview a little bit more fun. So here comes that interview. Enjoy.
Hello, Don.
Hey, Don.
Hey, is this Don Strasburg?
This is Don Strasburg now, yeah.
How's Biz?
Biz is fine.
Yeah, how was the show at the Boulder Theater thing?
It was good. I didn't see you there.
I was there in spirit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was actually. Did you hear about it at all?
No, I didn't hear a thing.
There was this group of like old men in business suits like stumbled in, like at the very end of the show, and like pushed everyone in the crowd and got up to the mics, and everyone definitely thought it was you.
Yeah.
For a solid minute. And
are you kidding? Because of the fact that I wear a business suit?
Well, because it was like just an older, unidentified.
An old man came in and
I'm sorry. Yeah.
And who was it?
I don't know. I mean, that was never cleared up, but the security guards had to kick him out. I gave him the mic on stage, and he like started screaming stuff into the mic.
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, we thought it might have been like one of your friends like defending your honor or something. Something like that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I did see an email trail go around between a bunch of managers. I tried to start a bidding war, but when they figured out I actually was in the band, they seemed to drift away a little bit. It was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, well, we wanted to make you the cover of the album, but at that time
I would not have been happy about that.
Yeah, we were worried about that. We were worried about the whole thing, honestly.
Where was that email from Chris? What are we talking about today?
We're just talking about Boulder. Talking about Boulder's music scene.
Okay, let's see. So we got Chris Tedzelli. Chris Tedzelli says, "I'm going to manage you."
Okay.
And do you know who he is? It's 7S Management.
He wants to manage the real band or the band if you're in it?
I think the real band.
Oh, really?
And then Michael McDonald, who manages like a bunch of huge bands from Mick Management, says, "I'm afraid to ask, but what does he actually do? Talk, sing, dance, be?"
All of the above.
All right. Okay, we're talking about Boulder music.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, how long have you been in Boulder for?
Well, I am not living in Boulder anymore.
Really?
No, I had to go to the fairy tale land in the sky of Denver.
Of course.
But I moved to Boulder in about 91. No, it's 1991.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there until about 2009.
Okay.
Ish.
Wow.
Ish.
Yeah. How did you feel like Boulder changed in your time living here?
I mean, when you are that engaged and just part of it day in and day out, you don't always see the changes so much.
Yeah, it's pretty gradual.
I think when you move to Denver and then come back, it just feels a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I left basically during, when the bottom dropped out in the market, just in the, the recession happened and everything.
Yeah.
So I think, we've seen a massive change in Boulder since, the recovery of the recession,
Totally.
The big, I remember, before the 29th Street Mall had even been built, and that was just a big open plot of land for so many years,
Yeah.
But there was no doubt that it was getting more and more expensive. But I think the changes have happened more recently than it was relatively stagnant when I was in my heyday, I guess.
I agree. Yeah, it's changing really fast right now. Like, I think that building on Pearl was the most expensive building that's ever sold over on West Pearl last year. So
yeah, and I'm sure now it's not even in the top 5.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Do you think that that's impacted Boulder's music scene? Has that impacted your guys' business, Z2?
I think I think overall the Boulder music scene, as far as first of all, when you describe music scene, it's kind of complicated, okay?
Right.
Because music scene can be defined as the amount of local artists playing and making, music on a regular basis who live, eat, breathe in Boulder.
Right.
Then there's a music scene of people who just like to go and be entertained by live music, and what level of an epicenter is the town, how on the cutting edge is it in bringing music to town and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, totally.
And, I think to some degree, Boulder has, been relatively, not stagnant's the word, but even keel when it comes to creativeness of musicians and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You always have a college there. As long as you have a college, you're always going to have, 18 to 25-year-old people there who are in that creative mainframe,
Right.
And they would often leave and go to San Francisco or wherever else. I think more you're seeing people just move down to Denver.
Yeah, that's what I see all the time.
Probably the biggest, not probably, there's no doubt about it. The biggest impact on Boulder has been the resurgence and the coming of age of Denver.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, Denver became Boulder.
Yeah.
If I think about it, when I moved to Boulder in 1990-ish, 91, whatever it was, Denver was not any place that I had any desire to be, really. I didn't go to Denver. I had no need to go to Denver. Like, the epicenter of life was in Boulder. And, obviously in the last 10 years, or maybe even longer, Denver's become a really awesome city. Mm-hmm. And potentially that's been slightly to the detriment of Boulder, because, if you are a millennial and you're a young, person who's, vibrant, Denver's a fun place to be.
Yeah.
So I think that, Boulder has become a tad more, of a quieter place to be. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, I don't want to be in the middle of it. I'm going to go to Boulder. I also think as well Fort Collins has, it has an impact upon the whole ecosystem. And this ecosystem we're talking about probably goes past just, music. It's probably more of a total social ecosystem that's, part
cultural
of a cultural body politic. Yeah. But, again, think about it. In 1992 when we opened the Fox.
Yeah.
Fort Collins was, was pretty much, an agricultural school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, a lot of people were going to school at CSU, from out of state. And there were some people, but it didn't have the reputation it has today.
Yeah, well, they've been cool about, they'd made that a whole arts district, I believe, Fort Collins, like the artery and whatnot. But
so I think that you've found this, it's a cheap place to live. There's a college. The college has become a good college, a very good college.
There's tons of
Fort Collins has had a renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think that Boulder, on the other hand, has also gained an interesting thing that didn't exist before, because Boulder's gained this intelligent, maybe tech kind of almost like a Silicon Valley thing.
Yeah,
that's brought a lot of creative people to Boulder from around the country for the way of life, who are wanting to go to Boulder and raise families and be there, and who are still very much engaged in seeing music, and who care deeply about art and music. So they just have some more money, some of them.
Yeah, I would argue it's a different type of art that they're seeking, and a different type of engagement with art that.
But again, last night at the Boulder Theater, Pigeons playing ping pong, sold out, no problem. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
I wasn't there. Place was probably going off. I see the shows playing the clubs every day of the week, and people are going out as aggressively in Boulder as they are in Denver.
It's true. I have noticed. I have noticed a little bit of a rivalry starting between. I grew up just outside of Boulder, and I've never noticed this before, but there's some animosity between Boulder and Denver music crowds, which is really interesting. Like, me and Ethan were at a show at the Larimer a few weeks ago, and the performer asked the audience what they thought of Boulder, and the whole crowd just started wrecking Boulder. And she was like, I'm never effing going to Boulder. Boulder sounds like it sucks.
Who was it?
Japanese Breakfast.
So, that kind of music, or like the Larimer Lounge kind of community of sorts.
Yeah.
Even back in the day, I always had a hard time making more of that indie rock kind of community resonate in Boulder. It just, I fought it. I remember booking. God, I'm trying to think about whether it was Guided by Voices or so many bands and Yola Tango. Or,
oh my God, yeah. Well, Yola Tango,
the Cadillac Tramps. So many really great kind of more guttural bands.
Yeah,
and never really had I never really took in Boulder.
Well, I do feel like that area of Denver. Like Lodo, everything, like Rhino has kind of become what a lot of young people thought Boulder was, But
it wasn't.
But it never was. Yeah.
No, I mean, Boulder has always been, or it was always more of a kind of groovy, granola-y kind of place with a weird little punk rock subterfuge.
Yeah.
It's before your time, the days of Bunny Genghis and Baldo Rex and those kind of bands and the Fluid and stuff like that. But, those bands, even there was this there used to be this T-shirt. It was like, Jerry's Dead Fish Sucks, Get a Job, And there was a community in Boulder that really wore it. They used to hang out at this place called Penny Lane.
Yeah.
That's now a bike shop, I think,
Yeah.
It's probably still there, but again, it wasn't a massive community, but it was, it was a real one. I think, one of the things as you see is just that, it's just, the kind of music that comes through kind of also recognizes the evolution of college and what the kids like,
Right. Totally.
And more hip hop, but Boulder was always front and center on hip hop. I mean, we were from the earliest adopters to doing hip hop,
Yeah.
Playing live hip hop.
Do you feel like that fits for that interest, market fits on Pearl as well as the Hill? I mean, I think that
I mean, look, as long as you have 20, all the kids in high school and all the kids in college, it doesn't, they want to go see, hip hop.
Totally.
A bunch of other music, but it's like that's definitely core. I mean, you think about it. But I remember, like, when I booked Babes in Toyland, we lost money. When I booked I don't know how we could always get away with like Archers of Loaf. We never did great. We did okay.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we could take a band like Soul Hat or Eka Mouse and every day line it up. So
yeah.
The difference is that Denver's like I remember like we used to do the Muffs. They never 2-hour shows. Face to face would do well. We could get that community a little bit, but the difference is now the groovy side, the granola side of Boulder essentially has a larger and massive body politic in Denver.
Oh, really? The groovy community has left.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you think about it, you go, you think about what's playing at the Ogden and all that kind of stuff, and or Cervantes and all that stuff. Like that outlet was never really being mined in Denver. Now Denver has a very, very vital community in that regard. Yeah,
I mean I agree with that. And the Grateful Dead bars in Denver are a lot chiller than the ones in Boulder nowadays.
I can't speak to the different Grateful Dead bars, but you know what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah. I mean I have seen Z2 like booking more like indie rock bands than I've seen in the past. I mean maybe not, but
well, I mean they need to be more open-minded and creative. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
One of the big things is recently we the Z2 hired a guy named Joe Gozlacheski.
Okay.
Go. I can't ever Joe G. I still can't pronounce his name. Anyway, he's brought a lot of heat to the Fox lately.
Yeah.
And it does matter. I mean, who books the venues has a absolute impact.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've noticed it. Like,
upon the quality of entertainment, and Joe G is killing it. He's doing an amazing job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and the lounge people have been really stoked about the lounge shows too.
That's all Joe G. That's his thing.
Oh, really? Yeah. This band Palm is playing there this week, and like everyone. I know people from Denver who are coming down to go to the lounge,
Which is good, and if it keeps doing better, then those shows can move up into the Fox,
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So you're a big Dead fan, right?
I like the Grateful Dead a little bit.
Yeah. What are your favorite Dead albums? A lot of people I know like
Dead albums, really?
Yeah. You're not into the albums? I mean,
most Deadheads don't normally it's pretty much the first signature sign that then somebody's not that steeped in the Grateful Dead would be
they like an album,
focusing on the recorded material.
Yeah.
That said, kind of in order of appearance of Live Dead is a masterpiece.
Live Dead is so good, totally.
But that's also not a studio record,
right?
Obviously Working Man's Dead and American Beauty are brilliant albums, and they will always hold the test of time.
Mm-hmm. What about Anthem of the Sun? Are you into that one?
I mean, I love Anthem, but I'm not going to, there aren't a lot of tracks from Anthem that you're going to listen to from Anthem of the Sun. You know what I mean?
Like listen to it now, only.
Like, for instance, like China Cat Sunflower.
Yeah.
Is probably my favorite. China Cat's not an Anthem, is it? It's on Oxamoxa. Sorry.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, well, so Anthem, China Cat's on Oxamoxa.
Yeah.
I would not normally listen to that version. I wouldn't typically listen to the other one from Anthem of the Sun. You know what I mean? It's you're gonna listen to the other one on the millions of live versions. So.
Totally.
But Anthem's a good record. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think that one's so good. It's just like it's difficult to find an entrance point into the Dead. A lot of people like just kind of resent the band for the culture and then have trouble getting into the albums?
I mean, there is a weird thing about music, and I am just as I do it myself all the time personally, where you bring the axe to grind with the people who like the music to your ear when you listen to the band. So like when I was growing up in the 80s, all the people who liked maybe what we call 80s music, whether it was like U2 or, you know, Joy Division or things like that.
Like new wave.
If those people weren't like nice to me or like whatever it was, or we didn't, you know, it was just those were the cool kids, and I don't want to be around the cool kids who, you know, suddenly their music became uncool as well.
Yeah.
And it takes you a long time to get to the point where you actually, you know, put on a Joy Division record or a Smiths record or even U2 to that regard, and listen to it and go, wait a second, you know, like
this is worth listening to, like regardless of the culture.
You know, for the Dead, I would typically pick, you know, 10 to 20 live if I'm going to turn, you know, a friend of mine who you know, became pretty deep in the Grateful Dead community. You know, I gave him a hard drive of music, and you know, he's more of a kind of into pop music and stuff like that. And you know, and I didn't give him records, but I gave him like, you know, a bunch of shows, and I burned them and put them on a hard drive. And I didn't put Casey Jones and Alabama Getaway and Truckin' on it, but I definitely picked what I considered some of the best, cleanest live Grateful Dead concerts to, you know, for them to listen to, because it's just impossible to listen and not be like, whoa, this is good.
So
for instance, like in 1977, there was a run of dates in Cornell and in Buffalo and in Boston.
Yeah.
You know, no-brainers, you know?
Totally.
You can go to like, you know, those run of shows in the 1980s where they made Dead Set out of, you know, no-brainers. You can go to like, you know, into 70, well, obviously some of that stuff in like the late 60s, like on The Hate, you know, listen to the Viola Lee Blues from The Hate in like, I think it was 69 or something. If you go listen to like some of the stuff they were doing in 74, I mean, it's sublime. It's absolutely, you know, stone cold perfect. You know, I wouldn't send them to some like dirty show from Hartford in 1984 where Garcia's like, you know, mumbling through every lyric, so high on cocaine that the band's playing at breakneck speed. Yet at the same time, for somebody like me who really likes the band, I actually enjoy that a lot because it's just so dirty and it's so like in the pocket.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, it's kind of you know, you know.
I guess like what would be your top rec like Dead show for someone to check out who isn't necessarily into the culture but wants to get into them like musically?
You gotta send them to Cornell and Buffalo 77.
Okay, totally.
I mean, you have to. I mean, it's just too easy. It's like, you know.
What's so good about those shows?
Put them on. You just listen.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to the Scarlet Fire in 77 in Cornell, or the Helps of Frank, or the Morning Dew at you know, Buffalo. It's just wow.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
You know, it's pretty strong. You know, it's beyond strong. So, but enough of the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
We wanted to know about your favorite local bands and where you go to see some live music.
Well, right now, I'd probably put the Yawpers on top of the list.
They're great. They're great. We have them in rotation
I've been really impressed with what they're doing. I'd be lying to you if I said I'm going to see a lot of local music.
Right.
I'm not. You know, I can't even begin to feign how many shows, you know, I was at from, you know, mid-May until the end of September that I actually had to be at and worked, that I booked. You know, when you have a family and have a son at home and all that kind of stuff, it's pretty hard when you're putting in 110-hour weeks with going to the office and then going to shows, when you have, you know, a day or two off at night to not spend time with your wife and your son, you know?
Right. So has live music kind of lost some of its appeal to you since you are surrounded by it all the time in your day-to-day?
No, but at the same time, like anything, I mean, like, I'm around it so much, it's hard for me to, like, go out and have to find more of it, where, like, I had to be at the XX last night. It was amazing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tonight, I'm going to be at Queens of the Stone Age.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether I have to be there or not, I'm psyched to be there and be watching that show.
For sure.
Tomorrow night, I don't have a show to cover. And, I need a night off,
Yeah, totally.
Will I be going to His Golden Messenger at the Bluebird? Even though I don't have to be there, yeah, I'll fucking be there.
Yeah, for sure. I love that band.
But, there's also a level of, everybody has their own taste and everything, and I'm lucky enough to work with so many of the artists and so much music that I'm passionate about that, I tend to be able to make it part of my, responsibility to be there.
Right.
I mean, it's a little hard sometimes because, I can't just go out and completely immerse myself in the show because somebody needs me. I have a responsibility to make sure everybody else's immersion is unabated and uninterrupted, and all the things that need to happen are getting done. But
right.
That's, how it goes.
What shows are you stoked on that you've booked recently? Like, in the future, are there any in particular?
I didn't book His Golden Messenger, but it's playing at the Bluebird, and I got to definitely, nod that one out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I really like LCD Sound System, so I'm excited about that one at First Bank. Just thinking here a second. Got to make sure I don't tell you shows that are not announced yet,
Right, yeah.
November.
Well, this is coming out in like 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to change that much. War on Drugs, no brainer.
Great band.
Nice.
The infamous String Dusters. I like this band called Spafford.
Okay.
They're playing the Ogden on November 9th. A lot of your people will hate them, but I like them. I hope you don't hate them, but
Right on. We'll check them out.
Kind of psyched about Grizzly Bear.
Yeah.
I really like this guy, French Kiwi Juice, FKJ.
Okay.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, it's good. Let me see what else we got here. Blair Word. Oh wait, Bluebird. Get the Ogden out of there.
Don Strasburg's playing a show, aren't they, Donato?
Somewhere. You guys gotta do better marketing, though. Pine Grove is a I'm really interested in checking out.
We interviewed them last episode.
Yeah, I'm interested in checking this band out.
They just
did I mention His Golden Messenger?
Yeah, you did. Pine Grove blew up, and they're playing the Gothic, right? You must be pretty stoked about that.
Is playing the Blue. Wait.
They were playing the Bluebird, but they sold it out, so they moved it to the Gothic.
It's playing the Gothic now. Yeah, it's moved up. Or is it playing the Ogden, actually? Hold on. Survey says it's playing. That's a busy night, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. May's always busy, I guess. But War on Drugs, Pine Grove, and M. Ward all the same night.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's like all the same crowd of fans, I feel like.
And they're all selling great.
Yeah.
What else is interesting out there? This kid Billy Strings has got to play. He's a player. What is on my agenda? Wait, the Gothic got bonked out of there. Hang on.
Well, Don, I think this is pretty good. We're at like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much for talking to us today.
Hey, my pleasure.
Yeah, it was great talking to you.
If you need anything, don't hesitate.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
What would I say to everybody? Parting words. Parting words is we do our best here to bring everybody as much diverse entertainment as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I may not, or the guys who work with us or girls who work with us, they may love some of the music they work with, and they may bring some music in because other people love it. But we do take it as our as an honor, I guess, and a responsibility to bring incredible music to our town. And we can get into discussing the nuances of the socio cultural scene between Boulder and Fort Collins and Denver and all that. But the fact that we can have such nuanced discussions about our community, just says, like, man, it's really, really healthy and vibrant.
Totally.
True.
And, you know, I hope people, well, I don't know, I hope, but maybe I could give everybody a moment of pause to just stop and be like, wow, especially for where we live in the middle of the country, where, you know, you don't have like a New York or a Los Angeles where people can pop right out and down, up and down to, and, you know, where you have these, and I don't even claim that it's because they're more creative communities. They just have more people, you know. It's like you got a 10, 20 million, 30 million people, 40 million people, or whatever godforsaken number it is, between, you know, Boston and Washington, D.C. Inevitably, the amount of creativity coming out of that many people, you know, the odds are if you live in New York, you're going to see cool things.
Right.
True.
And the same thing for the West Coast, between, you know, think about L.A. and San Francisco and all that. And then you think about where we are in Denver to get the level and the caliber of music we have that's absolutely equivalent to New York, L.A., Chicago, etc., where we're out here, just is a testament to the community that everybody here has created and why other people want to come and, you know, join us, which is pretty sweet.
Totally
agree.
Well, yeah, we appreciate that as well. So, thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. So, all right, guys, take it easy.
Cool. Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
Up next, we have a little interview with Japanese Breakfast's Michelle Zauner, which we did live at the Larimer Lounge on the back porch.
Right before their very controversial show.
Yeah.
Why was it controversial, Donato?
It was an extremely controversial show, and I think it was maybe partially directed towards us.
There was animosity.
Yeah. So we interviewed Michelle Zauner, and obviously she knew what the purpose of the interview was. It's for a podcast about Boulder. And she's on stage, and she asks the audience, like, what do you guys think of Boulder? And the entire audience just, like, starts wrecking Boulder. And what did she say? She, like...
Well, I think she genuinely didn't know. She was like, is it like the Brooklyn to your Manhattan? And then she was like,
and that really made everyone in like, Larimer mad.
Yeah.
Because they were like, no, we're like the Brooklyn. Like,
yeah,
Boulder.
They were like, I guess they think Boulder's shitty. All those Denverites.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the show, she, like,
so the audience all just starts wrecking Boulder, and she's like, all right, screw Boulder. I'm never going to that effing city. That city sucks. Like, with an X. She was like, sucks.
Yeah.
And then she ends the show by going, F Boulder, have a good night.
Yeah, and everyone cheered.
Yeah, everyone cheered. And
it's wild.
Yeah, and we aren't the only people I know to have had some sort of beef with Michelle Zauner of Japanese Breakfast.
Who else?
Yeah, I have a friend in New Orleans who his name's Jack Long. He opened for Japanese Breakfast. He's in like a speed punk band down there, and when they opened for them, I guess Michelle and the band was just really rude to him. So
really?
Yeah, so right before he like introduced their band, he was like, enjoy Canadian lunch up next.
That being said, she was very pleasant.
She was really nice to us.
She was very nice. And I don't know 100% that she knew that the podcast was about Boulder specifically. I think that may be a little unfair, but it was still
regardless.
It was still whack energy at the Larimer Lounge.
Yeah, yeah.
Very odd.
Yeah, we felt bad coming home to Boulder.
Yeah.
Anyway, yep, interview with Michelle Zauner of Japanese Breakfast coming up. You listen to The Bubble.
All right, we're here with Michelle Zauner. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hey, there it is. We're also here with Avi and Donato.
Hey.
And this is for the Bubble podcast. It's going to be a great time. Michelle is front woman of Japanese Breakfast, and we're out here at the Larimer Lounge on the back patio. Beautiful evening. How has your stay been in Denver so far?
It's been about 2 hours long, and I have been only to this club, and I sound checked, and I did some stretches earlier, and I haven't really done anything around here.
Do you do yoga a lot on the road?
No, I've only done yoga. I really want everyone to know that I don't do yoga usually.
Right. Michelle Zauner does yoga every day on the road.
I do not do yoga every day on the road. I've started this for 3 days because my back, I strained my back somehow, and I haven't done any kind of physical activity for the last 10 years of my life probably.
Oh, okay, cool.
And sitting in the car for 9 hours a day and lifting gear that's my weight and playing shows every day for the last year and a half has taken its toll finally. And
that's crazy.
I went to a chiropractor and a masseuse who were both yeah, you should probably come here twice a week. And I was like, haha, that's hilarious. I have to go to another city now. So they gave me some stretches to try to fix it. But I feel like a real asshole because I haven't been able to lift anything for a week, and I have to just watch the guys bring stuff in.
Right.
And I'm generally someone who has a lot of bravado about that kind of thing too. I've carried this Vox AC30, which is probably 80 pounds, and I weigh 105 pounds for 5 years. I've just carried it everywhere, and I really like showing up to the venue and showing people I can carry it up a case of stairs or a flight of stairs. But now those days are over.
Sure. It's kind of a nice excuse, though, it seems like.
Yeah. I'm really embarrassed that I'm doing yoga, but I think it's helping, so I have to do that now.
What else do you do on the road to, I guess, stay sane or, comfortable? Because it seems pretty intense, as you said, driving all day.
Yeah. I have a lot of projects that I like to work on. Lately I've been doing a lot of video editing in the car, which is really a fun activity for me, and it's it takes such a long time, and it's engaging, so it's an easy thing to do in the car. And I guess attempting to eat well and drinking a lot of fluids. I also my partner plays guitar in the band, so
cool.
That has really helped in the last couple of months that I don't feel like a jerk.
Definitely.
Leaving all the time.
I wanted to talk about food mostly because your Instagram is a lot of food.
Yeah.
Are you a foodie, would you say?
Yeah. I feel like that term is used a lot by dads. So I'm hesitant to claim that, but I think that for me, I think that food has always been a really special experience for me, being half Asian, because I was exposed to a lot of foods growing up, and it's just a comforting thing for me, and it's also something that's kind of always sort of unattainable on tour, or trying to eat well on tour is really difficult, and so I really appreciate it when I get to eat good food on tour, because a lot of times you just have to make do with the Chipotles and the gas station food.
What has been the best food on tour so far?
There's this sushi restaurant in Eugene that's really amazing, where I'm from, in Eugene, Oregon. There's this Japanese guy named Taro who runs a really small sushi restaurant called Mame, and it's so good, and it fits about maybe 20 people or 15 people in the restaurant, and he just cares so much about the quality of his food and stuff. I love going to Atlanta and visiting the DeKalb Farmers Market, and usually my friend Diana and Deborah and I will make something from the amazing produce that's in Atlanta.
Nice.
And what else? Oysters in Vancouver are really good, and in the Bay has really good food.
So what's the worst thing you've had?
This Qdoba burrito I had today was
Qdoba
so
sucks.
horrible.
Sucks.
It was so sad too, because I was talking to the burrito maker, and I was like, oh wow, that's a really neat burrito, because usually when you go to Chipotle, it's this giant diaper full of just exploding everywhere, and then I was like, oh, that looks good. I haven't been to Qdoba in a while. That looks really nice, compact. But then it just tasted like shit, and it was really sad.
Yeah.
Did you get queso?
I got the queso, and I immediately regretted it.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah. I was because I love queso. I'm a big queso fan. But I don't as soon as when you ask me if I want queso, I'm going to say yes.
Sure.
But then I saw it put on, then I immediately was like, no.
I find that it throws off the equilibrium of the burrito.
Everything about this burrito today was really gross.
We're getting deep into the burrito stuff.
Okay. How about, let's talk about that video game that you made. I tried playing it today. I'm not a video game guy. I didn't get very far, but I thought it was really cool that you made it.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did that come about? How long did that take?
Well, it kind of started, maybe the initial idea came kind of 2 years ago when Peter Bradley, who plays guitar in the band, is also my husband. He had this program called Muse Score, and he was like making MIDI versions of all of the songs on Psychopomp, and they had this like really fun kind of like 8-bit music kind of feel. And so we decided it'd be good to do it again. We released it as like a bonus cassette that came with the deluxe vinyl copy thing. And so we did it again for Soft Sounds from Another Planet, and our label was like, you should really make a video game, because they knew that I'm a big video game nerd, and I grew up playing like SNES when I was like 5 years old. RPG games with my dad was like a huge bonding thing for us. And so they're like, you should really showcase this. This is really special. It sounds really fun. And so they paired me with this woman, Elaine Fath, who helped me design the game and was like a really essential part in making the game. And I kind of sort of came up with the general concept and what I wanted to happen. And we started working on it in February and kind of just went back and forth about character design and what should happen and, what kind of Easter eggs I wanted to be in there. And I kind of wanted it to be like sort of like Secret of Mana meets Chrono Trigger meets like a Scott Pilgrim game.
Okay, I've heard of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Call of Duty, right? It's like Call
no,
of Duty.
not at
all. So this year you toured with Slowdive?
Yeah.
And Alex G?
Yeah.
And Porches? Not like this calendar year, but like in the last year.
Yeah.
What was that like? That's a crazy amount of really, really good musicians to have toured with.
Yeah, I think that I just have good taste, and so I just those were musicians that I loved and either asked or begged to open for, or had been asked to open for, and was like definitely yes. And I think we also just got really lucky that we got really great opening slots this last year, and it felt really amazing to be able to just all three of those bands are so different and so great in their own way. So it was really fun to just learn a lot from their ways of doing things.
Yeah, totally. Were you working on this new record while touring also? It seems like that'd be pretty hectic.
We took, I think, October off. We were off most of October last year, I think, and that was when we just were in the studio. We had a month where we really sat with it and worked on it.
And how long did it take you to write all these new songs?
I generally write pretty quickly, and I also was reusing a lot of sort of old demos, and so I think that having that kind of perspective when you reuse demos is really a good strategy for me anyway, because a lot of the times those songs didn't really amount to much, or production and arrangement has so much to do with just elevating a song. So I think that if initial composition is good and it's stuck with you all those years, that there's something in there to kind of reap, it's good to revisit those songs. So I had maybe 5 songs that I reworked for this record, and I also just generally like to write really intuitively and quickly. So I had a month in the studio, and it was just Craig and I, and we work really well together. And so, he'd be comping vocals, and I'd be writing another song, and then he'd be done comping vocals, and we'd start putting down another song. So we'd work really, really quickly, and
Nice.
That was sort of the process.
I've read somewhere that this is somewhat of a concept album. I heard the word sci-fi musical.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. It kind of started as a sci-fi musical. Originally, the other thing was the song Machinist existed long ago. We've been playing that song live for over a year. Pretty much as soon as we started playing live, we were playing Machinist, because maybe a year ago, there was this blog that commissioned me to write 2 songs and record them, and then they were just going to give me $2,000. And I was like, great, that's so much money. I'm really excited. And then I wrote the songs, and they didn't want them, so I just had these songs. And Machinist was one of them, and at the time, we had finished Psychopomp, and it was just such a personal record, and I thought that it'd be really good to like write something that had some more distance, and I was really tired of doing interviews where I was just talking about my mom dying all the time, and it was really intense, and so I felt like if I wrote, like a sci-fi musical, then I was very well guarded, for those kinds of questions, and it would be a lot easier on me. And it just seemed really like a fun task, and I like concept records, and I thought it would be fun. So then I had Machinist, and then when I went in to, write this whole musical about this woman who falls in love with a robot and then kind of realizes it's a love that can't be, and enlist in the Mars One project to get away from that situation. When I thought about the other songs that I would have to write for that, it was just all of a sudden really daunting, and I think I still had so much to say about my personal life too, and a lot of stuff that I wanted to work through that felt more important to me. So I think it was kind of like a failed concept album in a way. But a lot of those themes that I was already thinking about for that record, the musical record that never will be, I think kind of infused itself in something a little bit more real and authentic to what I personally wanted to work through and say.
Cool. So has it been easier touring this record, given the fact that it is a little less personal? Or like, is there really any way to remove yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a couple of songs on this record that are really moving to me and sometimes really challenging to sing. When I was in Eugene and we were sound checking Till Death, it was really emotional for me to play that kind of song. But yeah, I think that it's hard to say what makes touring easier. I think that this record is still tremendously personal to me, and it deals with a lot of stuff, but it's a little bit more, I think it just views like pain and grief a little bit more objectively than Psychopomp did. When I wrote Psychopomp, my mom had passed away literally 2 months before, and all of my feelings were incredibly raw and really confused. And I think with Soft Sounds, I had a more clearer idea of just how I wanted to move forward with my life and how I wanted to heal, and I could look at what happened to me in a way that didn't feel like life's slight against me. It was more of just like, this is what happens in the world, and it happens to so many people, and how do I like decide to not make me a bad person? For sure.
Well, we hope that you keep healing in this way, because we appreciate the music that
Thank
you
you.
make. Yeah. We'll let you get back to your pre-show ritual.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks for chatting with us.
Yeah, no problem. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, for sure. We are in the Bubble Studios at Bubble Corp with Ashely Koett. She's going to play a couple songs for us, 3 songs. Without further ado, take it away, Ashely.
Hello. This song's called Slipping. Forgive me, I've been busy. My hands are tied together, you see. I've never been one for listening. Don't take me so seriously. You watch my moves so closely. It's all deliberate, baby, listen to me. I've never made a mistake in all my days. I wish you would believe me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm slipping between my own fingers. I think I like it very much.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
Do you want to play another one and then we'll chat for a little bit?
Yeah, that sounds great. This next one's called Call Me, and it is actually coming out as a single in a few weeks. Baby, 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 I've been thinking about you lately, waiting to see if you gon' miss me. You can call me anytime, baby, 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 wondering if you think about me, wishing you were right here with me. You can come back anytime, baby, 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 baby. You know I'll always be waiting, baby, 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 baby. You know I'll always be waiting. Call me sometime if you're ready. I miss you so much, oh baby. Call me sometime now. I miss you so much, oh baby. Call me sometime when you're ready. I miss you so much. La 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 I could still write you a love song. Call my name and I'll be there. Can you call me by my nickname? I know you're still in love. When you're busy, don't forget me. Baby, I'm so busy too. Wish you wondered what I'm up to. I would love to talk to you. Baby, 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 baby. You know I'll always be waiting. Baby, 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 baby. You know I'll always be waiting. Call me sometime if you're ready. I miss you so much, oh baby. Call me sometime now. I miss you so much, oh baby. Call me sometime when you're ready. I miss you so much. La 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 la
Whoa. That was really sick. Both those songs are very, very sick. How are you doing, Ashely Koett?
I'm pretty good. I woke up at 8 a.m., went to class. Didn't turn in my project. That wasn't very good. But other than that, I feel great.
I heard that you misplaced your laptop.
I misplaced it in my backpack.
You
in
found
my
it?
car, and then it was stolen from me.
Oh, that
Yes,
sucks.
very
Did you try and do
unfortunate.
like Find My Apple device?
Boy, did I.
Oh man.
To no avail.
Do you have your music backed up somewhere?
Nope, but I have some of them. I have the most important songs backed up, but the rest of everything is gone. So, looks like I've got to start from scratch.
That's terrible.
Bit. Yeah. But I mean, I was at a point where I had so much stuff on my computer and just like files and like songs that I worked on for like 1 hour that I was keeping and like things like that it's all gone, and it's not like I needed it. It's just nice to be like, oh, look at all this stuff I worked on, but now I just have to make more.
So those songs were going to be on a new record, right?
One of them, yes, the second one, Call Me, is going to be on an EP that is called Call Me. That will be out in a few months, but that single itself will be out November 22nd.
Cool. So I've heard people describe you as the Amy Winehouse of Mac DeMarco. What do you think of that?
I think it's accurate. It's funny, but I wouldn't complain. That's a great description.
So you own it?
I own it. I gladly accept that title.
Cool. Do you want to... So we talked about possibly doing like a word association game. Do you think now would be an appropriate juncture for that?
I could do it.
Okay.
I could try my best.
I'll start. Light switch, or hold on. I have to start with. Wait, is light switch one word, 2 words? It's probably 2 words.
Hyphenate it, I think.
All right. Cabinets
can
always
provide
shelter
for
documents. All right, let's do another one. The
document
which which I or R?
I
put
in
the
cabinet
will
be
forever
sheltered.
Okay. One more?
If you're up for it. Okay.
Hey, I'm up for anything.
All right, me too.
Pants
typically
are
used correctly.
No, I call foul. I call foul. I call foul. All right, but cool. Do you want to play one more song and then we'll call it good?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, I'll play a song. I'll play a song fitting for the moment. It's called Bye Bye Baby.
Sweet.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Got your letter in the mail on Sunday.